this was a cousin, a third cousin. '36 U.S. Secretary, governor, you know. But we're gonna go do. Looks, there's the Post, just like Kellogg's and all the, Pillsbury. They're all on here. Norman Rockwell, another First Lady of Theodore Roosevelt, Marilyn Monroe, Allen Dulles, John Dulles. I'm not going to go through every name, but I want you to see that this is the people that's on the list that are related to. There's Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson's ex-wife, or one of them. Both of his ex-wives are on this list, by the way. It's just never ending. But this is a third cousin. Look, there's Jimmy Carter. But when we're going to do grandparents now, and everyone on the list is going to be a grandson, okay? Here, we'll start out with, and these are all, look here. Remember, these are Chapman, David Chapman. They're the grandfathers that came over on the Great Migration, right here, see here. We're going to do the grandfathers first, like John Strong, Henry Woodward, William Carpenter. We're going to do all of them first. And we'll just see. Now this is a grandfather. All these people, this next 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These next 5 people are all grandparents to Mark David Chapman. Okay. And who else shares a grandparent with this guy, Mark David Chapman? Nathan Hale does. Remember this name, Elihu Root? Remember? I said, remember that. And there's Franklin D. Roosevelt, Lucy Hayes, Morgan, Hiram Bingham, Vanderbilt. I want you to remember these names. There's Kellogg, Noble, who did Barnes & Noble, Anderson Cooper, Charles Dawes, Princess Diana, Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, and there's Mark David Chapman right here. Prince William, Prince Harry. But I want you to remember these names. Dewey F. Bartlett, because all these people share a grandparent. Princess Diana, Prince Williams, Prince Harry, Prince Charles, Queen Elizabeth II. They all have the same grandparent called Henry Woodward. And so does Mark Chapman. How funny. But what other grandparents do these people share? Because that's normal to share 10 different grandparents between the same 2 people, right? Like I know all my family members, we all share 10 different grandparents. Because that makes sense. Remember I said, remember the names? Nathan Hale, Abraham Baldwin. Look, they're on this list too. They're on this list too. They share that grandparent, and they share John Strong as a grandparent. Who else? FDR, Lucy Hayes, J.P. Morgan, Hiram Bingham. Look at that. Morgans. I'm just naming the same people. Treat Williams, Princess Diana, Sarah Palin. Here's Mark David Chapman. They all share the same. Prince William, Prince Harry. There's Brooke Shields, Ben Affleck, Boris Johnson. They all share this grandparent again. How many grandparents do you share with somebody? Let's see this one. This is Thomas Bliss, another grandparent of Mark David Chapman. Let's see who's on this list. Ellen Wilson, President Woodrow Wilson's wife. Morton, the U.S. Vice President, Levi Morton. Post. So all the same names. Post. Allen Dulles. John Dulles. You notice how I'm naming Hiram Bingham. Ripley. I'm naming the same names, basically. Here's Walt Disney, Alan Shepard, Amelia Earhart. But you notice that there's Warren Buffett, Hugh Hefner, Clint Eastwood, the Shoe family. Matt Damon, Mary Carpenter, and here's Mark David Chapman, Dan Quayle, Kate Upton, Christopher Reeve. Here's Boris Johnson again, Dr. Jill Biden. But you notice how it's the same people. How many grandparents can these people have that they share? Now here's William Carpenter, right? You got James Garfield on it, Susan B. Anthony. Didn't I already mention her? George H.W. Bush. And there's Mark David Chapman. But notice how they're all the same kind of people, man. Here's Kate Upton. Remember, Kate Upton was on her last thing. Now she's... How many grandparents do you share with somebody? Here's this is a grandparent right here. John Leonard. Again, Ellen Wilson. Remember that name? Elihu. I said, remember. How many grandparents can you share with the same people, like? Charles Curtis, U.S. Vice President. Here's Sidney Ripley. Remember? Lucille Ball, Nancy Reagan. Then you got Mary Carpenter, Raquel Walsh. Here's John Hinckley Jr. How many times can... Here's the Shoe family again. Matt Damon, Sarah Palin, and of course, Mark David Chapman. Why are these people sharing so many grandparents between each other? That's what I want to know. Okay, now this is Robert Fletcher. Let's see what Robert Fletcher is a... Oh, it's a great grandson to Mark Chapman. It is another great grandfather. And let's see, you got Franklin Pierce on this list. His wife was on the other list. Look at this. You got Mark David Chapman, Ed Helms. Okay, there's not really that many on this one. But keep in mind, these are all First Lady of Millard Fillmore. These are all incomplete lists, too. Keep that in mind, too. Robert Rose. Okay. But look who's on the thingy. This is Abraham Baldwin, the signer of the U.S. Constitution. I said, remember him. Look, he's the third grandson to this guy. Third great-grandson. You got Calvin Coolidge, Nelson Rockefeller, Winthrop Rockefeller. Remember, Christopher Reeve was on the other one. And Boris Johnson shares how many? This is like the third or fourth grandfather. He shares... Oh, this is a grandson. Yeah, these are all grandchildren. So again, yeah, this is all grandchildren. Mark David Chapman is a grandson of this guy, Robert Rose. Okay, now we got Jonathan Gillette. Let's see who he is. Another grandfather. Okay, so I guess they're all grandfathers tonight. And let's see. These are all grandchildren. No cousins, no nothing. What do we got here? Yeah, that name was up. We said that. Charles Fat. Here's Richard Gere again. Here's Nancy Reagan again. Taylor Swift again. Here's Mark David Chapman. And, of course, here's Boris Johnson, Nathan Gillette, Treat Williams. How many times can these people overlap with their grandparents? Here we got another one. Thomas Ford. Remember, I said, remember Abraham Baldwin, Increase Summers, and Nathan Hale. Here's the three of them right here. They share again another grandparent. Levi Morton, U.S. Vice President. Again, we mentioned him several times before. The Wright brothers, FDR, and Lucy Hayes, and Morgan, J.P. Morgan. They all shared, what, 4 or 5 grandparents I've just showed you so far with David Chapman. Okay, Mark David Chapman. Okay, whatever. It's just the Dewey Decimal System. Here's Hiram Bingham. He was on Brewster Shaw. They're just repeating the same. Kate Upton. Treat Williams. And they always are related to the royalty. Princess Diana. Glenn Close. Mike Huckabee is on many of these. Here's David Hyde Pierce again and Sarah Palin. They're all grandchildren to the same man. Rob Schneider, Prince William, Prince Harry, Brooke Shields, Ben Affleck. Here's Key and Peele. Okay, now why did I show you all the grandparents of Mark Chapman, David Chapman, the guy who shot Lennon, John Lennon? Why did I show you like, what it would, 7 or 8, 9, 10 of his freaking grandparents? Because I wanted you to show you how they're not just royal, they share a million different grandparents between each other. Not just the 7 kings 1,300 years ago. Okay? I want you to look at this. These are the great-grandparents of Mark David Chapman, and these are the children, the great-grandchildren, right? Like this William, what is that? Carpet or whatever, he had these grandchildren. This guy here, John Leonard, had these grandchildren, and so on and so on. This guy had these grandchildren, and then inside this box, this guy, John Strong, you can see right here, had these children. Same over here. I got the name of the grandfather and the children. Right? Notice, though, look at Rob Rose and this Jonathan Gillette. Charles Warren Fairbanks, I think that's a vice president, he shares 2 grandparents with Mark David Chapman. 2 grandparents. Just in this examples that I'm showing you, right? Look at Nancy Reagan. She shares John Leonard and Jonathan Gillette. 2 grandparents she shares with Mark David Chapman. Okay? Just like this, who is this? Morgan Buckley. I think he's a governor over here. You got Jonathan Gillette and Thomas Bliss are both. See how they're both. They both share. He shares 2 grandparents with Mark David Chapman. How many grandparents do you share with people? You know, it's just example after example after example. Look at Charles Dawes right here. It's over here too. Charles Dawes, Thomas Bliss, and Thomas Ford. They both they have the same grandparents named Thomas Ford and Thomas Bliss. Come on, man. And if you go down to here, down to the bottom of the list, say, look at this. Look at FDR. FDR shares a grandparent with Mark Chapman. Right here, Mark David Chapman. This guy here, John Strong. They share that grandparent. They also share this grandparent, right? Henry Henward or whatever. FDR. And another one over here, Thomas Ford. He shares 3 grandparents with FDR. Same way with Lucy Hayes. He's got Lucy Hayes up here. Lucy Hayes. And then what? J.P. Morgan. Hiram Bingham. And look, Princess Diana and Princess Williams and them. Here's Princess Diana again. Here's Princess Diana again, and Harry and William. Boris Johnson has shares like 5 grandparents. Here's one. Wait, where are the other ones? Oh, 2, 3, 4. There's probably, and keep in mind, when I wrote these names down, I didn't write down every name. The ones that popped out on me, that's why I can't find a double. All these names have a double though. They should, I just didn't write them down. Yeah, like this guy, Mike Huckabee. He has, and Sarah Palin. See, here's Sarah Palin. Here's Sarah Palin. There's Sarah Palin. Here's Sarah Palin here. Sarah Palin. That's 4 grandparents right off the bat without even, he shares. Here's Joe Biden. George Bush is on this. But what I'm getting at is this is an incomplete list. All the presidents are related to these freaking people. They're all related to they're all inbred. They're inbred. When it comes to royalty, the more inbred you are, the more royal you are. It's like backwards.